as Coach Richards was on staff at Mercer last year. She was a previous head coach at Alabama A&M. She's already animated early. As tips up in the air, won by Ole Miss. And Kids Day is off and running in Oxford. Energy is unparalleled. Maybe an extra cup of coffee for those working today's event. Ole Miss in the powder blues. Jackson State in the black jerseys. And turnover early. Tigers basketball. Ole Miss ranked number 19. Dominated Delaware State 80-42 in their first road game of the year. Jackson State coming off a loss at Tennessee Tech. And these are the Tigers starting five. All newcomers for Jackson State this season. The kids are being told to make noise. Scrum around the basketball. Jump ball is called. A lot of adjusting going on this year for them.
Yeah, going to have to take some time to find their chemistry. I mean, like that possession right there, a big steal for Toddy.
Star Jacobs is fouled on her second attempt. Star Jacobs' game underneath the rim, finishing.
She's going to try to get that loose ball, that rebound.
She's in her first season.
She is. That's going to be some adjustment for her, but that's what these early on games are for, helping her find her flow in the SEC.
Stolen by Sira Thienou, the freshman from Mali. She scoops it up and in.
That is something that we've seen transition from last year's Ole Miss team. Their defense, how they turn that defense into offense. Waiting on the pass to be made and anticipating that pass.
You mentioned these early games and finding your footing. She's a freshman in this starting lineup, coming off a career high. Three ball up top. KK Deans knocks it down, and Margaret Richards already calls time. And the Rebels are 2 of 3 to start, including a 3 and another turnover. Ole Miss has forced 20 turnovers in their last 3 games, and it's led to 2 points yet again.
I love to see it. I mean, Ole Miss, that strong, in-your-face defense leads to 2 more easy points. We're going to see so much of that this season.
Jalea Cotton from Bardstown, Kentucky, a junior, flings it up. Whistle comes in. Foul on Ole Miss. Coach Yo subs her up, pulls her aside for a chat. No practice in the offseason can prepare you for this.
Yeah, we call that the sixth man here during Kids Day.
More like 10th man today. Or 1,000th man?
Yeah.
Is that another thing? Deans drives, kicks to Todd Williams. She struggled from outside the arc, Lindsay. She's now 3 for 15 to begin the season, and KK Deans in on the steal. Thought about the pop. Deans muscles it up. This place would have exploded. Ole Miss going to her bench early. Tamia Sadler making her SJB Pavilion debut, number 2 in blue. And she's watching Tierney Kelsey, number 11, up the floor for the Rebels. Ballinger kicks out to Dilworth. Dilworth flies to the rim and puts it in.
There's that shot creation we were talking about early on. She's so good at getting herself to the rim.
And Dilworth now 75 points away from reaching 1,000 in her career. Richardson gets the feed low post. And the whistle comes in. Foul on Zoe Cooper. However, it's Carissa Richardson at the line. Year 2, there's always that comfortability in Coach Yo's system.
Yeah, you kind of get settled.
Last meeting between these two teams was 2020-2021, and Ole Miss won 79-66. Dilworth drove to the basket, wanted a foul, but a jump ball was called instead.
It was fantastic. I think it was more just ball protection. She didn't extend it. She didn't really push off.
It's good for Ayanna Thompson. I mean that endearingly, of course.
Yeah, she expects a lot out of her team.
Collins swatted the inbounds pass. And
we've seen a different starting lineup as well. I think she's trying to figure out what works early on in the season.
Sadler coming off a concussion against USC. First game back against Delaware State. This is her SJB Pavilion debut. And she can't get that one to bounce home. Carrera, offensive board, misses the reverse. Shot clock down to 11 for Ole Miss. Sadler to the basket. Foul's called. Colorado transfer. Began her career at Washington. Sadler not knocks down the second.
And that's what you want to do as a coach. I mean, I remember when she first got hired, and her goal was just to make it to the tournament. And then every year it's been to do a little bit better, a little bit better.
She compared those years to her team being a crock pot. Teardrop falls in for Diaka Beretti, Toronto, Canada native. But the crock pot analogy was a good one, I thought.
Well, it's worked for her, and she knew what it took to succeed.
Scott finishes underneath.
Yeah, definitely could have, and not only went pro, but also made some big waves.
Star Jacobs in on the steal, and her pass gets intercepted and leads to points for Beretti. And Thienou with 4 points already. So close to 6. Cooper rises for the rebound, and Thienou called for the jump ball. And Beretti, too, first season with Jackson State. You'll hear that a lot today. University of Science and Arts, Oklahoma, NAIA school. As Montoya blocked underneath, gets it back. Here's Ballinger with 10. Can't knock it down, and Thienou elevates for the rebound, and she's fouled. And the Rebels are in the bonus at the tail end of this first quarter, and Thienou hits the first for the Tigers. And Ballinger brings it up the court for JSU. A Wagner transfer, one of 2 Division I transfers for Jackson State you'll see today. Dilworth flies to the rim, almost got the and one. There's no point in talking. How do you hit 2 free throws? KK Deans with 10 left to shoot for the quarter. Shot clock, game clock, nearly identical. Scott loses the handle. 3 seconds left. Montoya falls on it. And the whistles intervene with under a second to go, 9/10. Not much you can do in a full court with 9/10 of a second to go. This place is a madhouse, and it's all because of the Minions in attendance today. End of the first quarter. Ole Miss up 10, 19-9. As Sadler's wide open. Richardson offensive board, stick back, won't go. Ole Miss is having some trouble finishing around the rim. I know they're contested, but they make some of those.
Yeah, especially the second chance baskets, those that are usually an easy putback. Like you mentioned, just getting those not to fall.
Ballinger off the mark. Montoya tips it around and reels it in. Dilworth for the 2. Yep.
He's so good at that mid-range jumper.
Jackson State's pressuring. Every time Ole Miss gets a rebound, Lindsay, they don't drop back. But Sadler shoots it strong. But right, that's got to be annoying. You expect the defense to drop back, but the Tigers stay there. Dilworth out high. Drives on Todd Williams. Banks it in.
Coach must have given her the green light. Said, okay, it's time to step up. I need you to put some points on the board.
It's a 6-point ball game. 7.5 to go until halftime. Starters back out on the floor for the Rebels as Scott drives in. Kisses it off the window. Player of the Year watch list. Boy, that's a mouthful to say, isn't it?
Madison Scott is highly decorated, as she should be.
Beretti spots up. This is the 2 at the tail end of the possession. Ballinger, though, on the floor. Star Jacobs up ahead to Thienou. 6 points for the freshman. Rather, 8. Dilworth turned away. Needs Beretti. No-look feed intended for Montoya and a turnover. 12.
Their reputation, it precedes them. You got to get yourself ready.
Madison Scott is fouled off the front of the rim. Scott's 0 for 2 from the line today. Make it 0 for 3. Because I look at that look on the face of Coach Yo, and I think, maybe she's expecting more from her team today.
Well, I think she definitely is. Funnest games, athletic events I have been to.
KK Deans on the near steal, and Ole Miss volleyball just took down Mississippi State on Sunday. Boy, that place was rocking. Always is rocking when State comes to town. That's good for Rakisha Ballinger. Noel can't respond. Gets her miss back. Scoots underneath. And she traveled. They have silenced thousands of elementary school kids today. That is hard to do.
Definitely not easy to do.
10 left to shoot. Yet another turnover. 13 now in this first half for Jackson State. Who knows what their score would be if they cut that turnover mark in half. And Iwala is down. The foul on Talia Dilworth. Dilworth's first. As KK Deans knocks down the free throw. Lead back to 10. And I think this coaching staff still trying to figure out for Jackson State. Deans makes the free throw, and Elisa Cajera comes in for Ole Miss. A lot to digest there, Lindsay.
That hurts for Jackson State, too, because they had some momentum going, and Ole Miss gets those 2 free throws and the ball. You can see the coaching staff trying to get them fired back up.
11 combined points in the second quarter, especially for an Ole Miss team that scored over 80 points in their last 2 games. And Cajera is called for a travel. Ole Miss's 11th turnover in this first half. These kids are here. They want to have fun. This is a field trip. This is their Super Bowl, Lindsay. They want to see baskets. Ballinger. Montoya, stick back. Shoot-arounds, I think, were early if there was one taken.
Supposed to be, yeah.
Ayanna Thompson twirls and another travel. 12 turnovers this afternoon for Ole Miss. This is a team that won 80-42 against Delaware State and beat UAPB by 61. See all the turnovers and points off turnovers. The kids' energy is back. Will they be able to will Ole Miss back? But a foul called underneath. I hope someone heard that promo.
I heard it, Jake.
This is the adversity that our ears are dealing with today.
Normally, I would say I would need an Advil after this game, but it kind of sounds like my house.
And Beretti splits the pair for Jackson State, outscoring Ole Miss 9-7 in this second quarter. Ole Miss led by 10 after the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, you talk about the kids' energy, but Coach Richards' energy over here on the sideline is unmatched.
Collins.
She is so hyped.
Yeah, Collins can't finish. Her energy matches the thousands of kids in attendance today. She's jumping up and down, saying, motion, motion. Ballinger motions to the basket, flips it up and in. Acrobatic move.
What a shot. Top tier.
6-point game in the second quarter. Ballinger up to 4 points. Ole Miss trying to get something going. Will it be Thompson? Collins loses it, but free throws on the way. It's 26% shooting from the floor and forced 19 turnovers. And if you're wondering how Ole Miss is playing so far, that's the perfect shot for, in case you're just joining us.
Her face hides nothing.
The kids are back into it. Tail end of the second quarter in Oxford. Ole Miss by 8. Bottom for Massenot. Trenton, New Jersey native, the graduate student.
Jackson State finally getting some buckets to drop. Took them a while to get warmed up, but playing good basketball.
Lead for Ole Miss cut to 6, and Massenot's first 2 points today. Sadler calls for the screen. Noel spots up, puts it in.
Much needed.
10 seconds left, second quarter. Jackson State with no shot clock. Montanot drives back in. Can't get the bounce. And Cajera holds on to it in an ugly first half. 31-22, but if you're Jackson State, you'll take it.
The kids are impressive. Coach Richards is more impressive. She's right here in front of us, and she is fired up.
See what the second half brings in Oxford. Ole Miss is unbeaten on Kids Day. They're 20-0. This is the 21st Kids Day edition. Easy day for the marketing department. However, for facilities, their toughest day of the year. First attempt to the basket, off the mark. It's also a tough day for the teachers. You think this is a day off for the teachers? No, give them a raise. Interception for Jalea Cotton to the basket. She's rejected. Already a fast-paced third quarter. A zip to Star Jacobs. And I think Coach Yolett lit into this team at the half.
Yeah, I think she might have. And Madison Scott kind of taking the reins here. You see her clapping, trying to bring some energy, and we're going to see a lot out of her. I can already tell.
Star Jacobs, 4 points now today. She had 18 against Delaware State on the road. Dilworth knocks it down, off balance and over Jacobs. Feeds to Scott. Thienou flies in for the rebound, and she's fouled. Back-to-back lopsided wins where they put up more than 80 points in both. And Thienou misses it.
Excited to see what that number is going to be by the end of the game.
Thienou misses both. Montoya fights for the rebound for Jackson State, and here come the Tigers. Ballinger, the mid-range. Scott reels in the rebound, up the floor to Thienou.
Thienou is the first one down the floor every time. Jackson State is going to have to get back quick.
Thienou's up to 10 points. Back-to-back double-figure games for the freshman from Mali. Ballinger loses the possession. Star Jacobs takes it away. And Deans couldn't corral the pass. Strips it back. Deans underneath. What a play.
Way to stick with it. That is what you want from your seasoned players. KK Deans. Man, she's so good.
7 points today for Deans. She's Ole Miss's highest scorer. Dilworth looks for help at the elbow. And it's Cotton with 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Cotton underneath. Oh, rejected by Scott. Ballinger tried to put it back up. She missed. Deans zips it to Thienou. 2 more for Thienou. She's up to 12. Jackson State so far 2 points in this third quarter. Another off-balance attempt by Massenat. She's off the mark. And last touch by Jackson State. Nearly 9,000 attended that year. 8,958. Star Jacobs fights underneath, lays it in. Margaret Richards was hired, and honestly, Coach Richards didn't have a team. 12 transfers, pair of freshmen. A literal start from the bottom rebuild. Madison Scott takes away the basketball for Ole Miss. Dishes to Todd Williams. Ballinger has 6 points. Hippity hops, forces it up, and Todd Williams with the carom. Heaves it up the floor. Thienou dishes to Jacobs, who's rejected, but a foul comes in. More than the 2022 Kids Day attendance, or just shy of it, rather.
And this place gets loud.
Madison Scott gets the offensive rebound for Ole Miss. Refresh 30 for the Rebels. And Todd Williams commands traffic for Ole Miss. And Scott knocks down the mid-range. 12-0 run for Ole Miss in the last 4 minutes.
Beautiful shot. That 15-foot pull-up, Madison Scott's bread and butter.
She can make that shot in her sleep. Dilworth gets her miss back, and she draws the foul. Dilworth, not just one kid, but
an immense amount of concentration and focus.
Multiply that one kid by 8,000.
8,000.
Scott inside, and she will have free throws on the way. No one's more grateful for her career than Madison Scott.
You know, Coach Yo had to be elated that she decided the Ole Miss way to teach them about the culture.
Because she set that standard. Big recruit for Ole Miss when she decided to come. McDonald's All-American, Coach Yo's first. Arminty Price, your former teammate, helped recruit Madison
She did,
Scott.
and I remember Arminty Price, she reached out to me, and she was both ecstatic but also shocked that Madison Scott chose Ole Miss. And boy, what a win that was.
And Scott has said on the record, too, not a lot of people were thrilled with her position to come to Ole Miss. Dilworth with 4 seconds left on the ticker. Massanon can't find the bottom. Montoya cleans it up to the Sweet 16 2 years ago. Now the expectation is a Final Four. Thienou finds Scott. More free throws coming. She said, I'm just glad I don't have to run the point guard position anymore. I'm so glad my PG is back. And on the topic of deans, in Coach Yo's early tenure, she was not getting high-level transfers like deans in Kennedy Todd Williams. And Todd Williams hit on the steal underneath the basket. The UNC transfer kicks out to Thompson and gets it back. Todd Williams. Now it's Iwala. Fights underneath and drops it home. And those are 2 transfers, high-level ones, too.
Yeah, the ones that you were just talking about. And that's a testament of the work that Coach Yo has put into this program. I mean, literally starting from total scratch, and now if her team, like, going to the tournament is just expected. Making waves in it is the goal. Final Four is the goal.
This team feels like they have the talent to get to Tampa. Obviously, not a perfect team yet. Everybody knows you got to peak at the right time, and a whistle intervenes. A program that's
with a completely new roster, all new players. She's off to a great start. There's talent, a lot of talent and possibility on this team.
Deans off the mark. Offensive board for Todd Williams. Tries to shake free. And another foul called on Esco. 4 D1 transfers we've seen today. They believe in themselves. Todd Williams adds 2. Two minutes to go in this third quarter. The Tigers do have a win this year. They took down ETSU on the road. 10 left for the possession. Cotton rises, rattles it in.
There's that pretty drive, stop on the dot.
Now it's KK Deans and Ole Miss with under a minute to go in the third quarter. And Bugwa from Kenya, 6'4", redshirt junior center. Transfer from Carson Newman. Todd Williams bags the long 2. In terms of quarters, though, Jackson State won that second quarter, outscoring Ole Miss 13-12. No shot clock for the Rebels. Coach Yo at the top of your screen, commanding traffic for Ole Miss. 5 left in the quarter. KK Deans needs help. Battles for it. Somehow gets it off to Iwala. Back to Deans.
My brain is rattling. I love it, though. It's fun.
Someone was getting coffee earlier today, and I said, "You're not going to need that. Just wait for the first 10 seconds after tip. You'll be wide awake."
That's how you know it's their first kids game. If you drink coffee before this.
Sira Thienou gets this fourth quarter started with a bucket underneath. Now she has a new career high. 14 points for Thienou, 6 for 7 shooting today for the freshman. Now back-to-back games for Thienou where she set a career high. SEC play is a long ways away, but, you know, she's fitting right in with Ole Miss as a freshman.
She is to start her freshman season. Oh, like that steal right there. That instills a confidence that is worth its weight.
Thienou has scored 4 points in this fourth quarter. Coach O's a good recruiter, too. Long 2 on the way is down for Zoe Cooper, number 30. First 2 points for Cooper. You look at this score and you think, wow, Ole Miss winning by a lot. Well, they've won their last 2 games by 40 or more points. Star Jacobs. So Ole Miss went into the transfer portal, and Tamia Sadler stood out for some point guard depth.
Yeah. You go through something like that, and it definitely makes you live and learn.
And here's Sadler on the handle. Came to Ole Miss from Colorado, began her career at Washington. Back to Sadler. Bottom.
She had words at halftime, I guarantee it, and Ole Miss has been a different team since they've come out.
Or maybe with a veteran team, you just kind of walk in and say, you guys figure it out, and walk out. Iwala corrals the miss from Jackson State. Lob to Iwala, and she's hacked.
Much louder than words, for sure.
The SEC preseason in Oklahoma, those 2 new additions. Do you like the additions, Texas and Oklahoma?
It's just different. You know, change, I'm old school, so change takes some getting used to, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, both schools, great competition.
At least they're not in California, right?
Yeah, very true.
5.5 to go for the ball game. Deans from way downtown. Bang! She hits. Yeah, Coach Richards and her Tigers, their first home games January 9th against Alabama A&M, and of course that was Coach Richards' last head coaching job. Montoya finds the bottom.
Wake up in your own bed, go play basketball game until next year.
Deans off the mark on the catch and shoot. Yeah, do the Tigers even know what their dorms/apartments look like? I mean, they...
It sounds exhausting, but looking at the schedule, they're not playing a ton of games before their conference play starts, so hopefully it won't be too bad.
Oh, Montoya with a shovel. Again, brand new team for Jackson State. All new players, new head coach. Todd Williams now with 8 points. But a Tigers program in the last 5 years under Tamika Reed won 5 regular season championships and 3 SWAC tournament titles. And Todd Williams draws the foul. These will be free throws 32 and 33, hitting 61% too. You look at that percentage, you think 61%. Ooh, you know, maybe a little low, but then you see that Ole Miss. Where should that percentage be, Lindsay?
At least in the 70s in the minimum. Personally, I think 80s.
80s?
Yeah, this is SEC college basketball. You don't miss a wide open 15-foot shot.
Todd Williams takes a seat for Ole Miss. Fatoumata Jallo is in the game for the first time today from Portugal, 5'10 freshman. And Sira Thienou with the career-high 16 points back in the game. Here's a 3 on the way, and it's good for Massenat. And again, new team. They're gelling. They're trying to figure it out. 8 left to shoot for Ole Miss against the zone. And Sadler rattles it in. The inbounds pass slips free. Picked up by Sadler. She goes to the rim. Turnover number 29. And Carrera scores.
That's where Ole Miss is so good with sticking with the play. It's not done until it's done.
Carrera, the freshman, played at IMG Academy. She's from Brazil. Long 3, it's good for Diaca Peretti. It's her 4th 3 that she's made this year. So even though Jackson State has a brand new team, first-year coaching staff, they're still picked in the top 5 in the SWAC preseason poll.
From watching them, I have been impressed with their style play. Plays like that right there. Beautiful steal. Easy 2 points. I think they're going to have a bright season.
Peretti now up to 10 points today. She posted a D1 best, 9 points in the win against ETSU. It's a season high for Peretti. 74-44. But you know, a lot of folks around the SWAC were very lucky, or they felt They were excited when Tamika Reed decided to leave the SWAC, move on to Charlotte. Nobody was more excited than the other teams in the SWAC.
Yeah, her opponents.
She's won the last 5 regular season championships, or she did rather, and 3 of the last 4 SWAC tournament titles.
But they threw her a going away party.
Can't wait to see you go, Coach.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck. Goodbye. 8 seconds left in this one, and the kids are counting them down in the pavilion. And that's all she wrote in Oxford. Coach Yolett McPhee-McCuin picks up her 200th career win.